Hello everyone, Carlos Toro here. I'm joined by Maricela Cornejo, who will be taking on Alma Ibarra in Puerto Rico on the upcoming Ring City USA card on March 18. Maricela, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just got done with training. Feeling I even told myself, damn girl, you looking sharp. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling ready. I'm so excited to get back in the ring. And I know she's coming with everything, which I'm loving because that's what I want. I want her to bring her best game come fight night. So I'm ready.
It's been, I want to say 18 months since your last fight. Has that excitement kind of been growing even more? Does it feel like there's more excitement heading into this fight just because you missed the ring for that long because of COVID?
Yes, I just told Armando too, the other interviewer, this fight, I've never felt the way I feel
Mhm.
a- about like returning to the ring, but just fighting in general. So I'm excited to see what I bring and how polished I've been with working with Buddy McGirt. So um I'm excited. I'm excited. Definitely the 18-month layoff is nothing I worry about as in like, oh, ring rust.
Mhm.
Because I've always stayed in the gym. I love working out. You have to force me to get out of the gym. And I love staying learning. I say you learn. I continue to learn every single day. And I love that.
You just mentioned, learning every single day and staying in the gym and Buddy McGirt. What have sort of been things that you've learned under Buddy McGirt, especially during this long layoff that you've had in between fights?
We started working together, I think May of 20 of last year. And I went in there just wanting to learn watching. And I remember I was watching him and a fellow teammate now. And he's like, "You didn't bring your stuff." I said, "Oh yeah, I brought it just in case, but I wasn't gonna bother." So after that, we just hit it off really well. And he has a way, it just makes sense. It's made sense other things, but just even hitting the bag, I realized I had been hitting the bag wrong this whole entire time. And I'm like, gosh. But he just has a way. Um he's a puppet master. There
Mhm.
we go. And he knows how to work his fighters and how to uh when he wants to move them, they'll move. We'll all move because it's all in. I don't have the words for it, but that's all I have is he's a puppet master. Um and it's gonna show fight night. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I don't want to like say I hadn't learned anything before, with my other trainers. I'm not saying that, but it's just something about Buddy that just brings something else. This person that I always knew I had, but I just didn't have the right puppet master to get that out of me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's always been kind of a staple where Buddy can identify a boxer's strength, and he just has a way of bringing it out
Hmm.
through really working on the most fundamental things in boxing.
Hmm.
It almost kind of like from the ground up, he'll just make a boxer better, not doing anything too fancy.
Correct. And that's where you hit it right on the spot, where it's just the fundamentals of it is just a simple, just a jab, learning what to do with the jab, learning how to turn them with the jab, learning it's just those little things. And it's funny the words that he uses, just freak them. You'll hear him say that a lot, freak them, which that just means shake. But it's yes, he's very gifted at bringing the something out of them with using the basic fundamental things with boxing and not being extra with it. There's no need for that. Like he says, there's no need for any of that.
You got this fight against Alma Ibarra, and she is certainly not a run of the mill fighter. She's
Hmm.
faced women like Raquel Miller. She's
Hmm.
faced former world title challengers. Based
Hmm.
on what you've seen of Alma, do you have sort of any personal assessment of Ibarra and her skills, if you have any to share?
Um, One thing that I know with her is she's going to bring it's going to be a fight. So there's going to be a fight, 2 Mexican freaking warriors in there, and we're not going out easily, either of us. So, and she's coming off a loss. I'm coming off a loss. So we're both fighting to stay in there. And this is something where it can either make our careers go higher or bring it, down, or keep it the same, or even both of us win from it, from just putting on a great show. But I know she has great school behind her, great schooling behind her. She has, she's very experienced amateur, so much more than I only had 4 amateur fights, so she has that experience. I'm not taking her lightly, but I haven't watched really too much of her. I've seen just clips here and there, but I'm not too much worried about what she's bringing. I know she's going to bring a fight. I'm pretty secure in what I'm bringing to the table. So,
one thing that I've been reading up on you is that, you were not just sitting on your couch throughout this entire pandemic. One thing that I found really interesting is that you actually wrote a book. And
How did you know? I'm releasing that tomorrow.
Wait, is it really releasing tomorrow?
Yeah, it's already on Barnes & Noble. It's already on Amazon. So you're getting the breaking news right here, because I didn't even tell the other interviewers that, because you brought that up. But I'm releasing it tomorrow. And yeah, I did. I wrote my first children's book, just with kids. I've always been, we were all kids once, so it's something where it's just like, I had some trauma in my childhood, that happened to me, but it's just, a kid's smile is just something so pure about it. And I love being around kids. They're so honest, they don't like you, but it's just you have to be yourself. Kids can sniff that out if you're being fake or something. They just think you're weird or not. But if you're goofy, if you just yourself, I love that. I love being around kids.
It's funny. And it's funny. I looked up the book, and I swore I thought that the book was already on sale. So knowing that it was actually coming out tomorrow.
No, it is on sale. It's on pre-order. You can pre-order it on Barnes & Noble and Target. It's Prime. It's everywhere. But it's pre-order. It will be released the 26th of this month. So I have a few on my website, which I have them. Those are the only ones that will be sold signed. But yeah, I'm releasing that tomorrow. And then when I run out of those, I may get more or just donate some that come from my website. But Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Target, all those other places, book places, will be available for sale the 26th of this month. So writing. I did that during a pandemic. You have to get creative.
Yeah. Well, was it something that you thought to yourself you wanted to try out, given the pandemic kind of shut down the sport for a long time, or was it something that you've been wanting to try out for even longer than that?
I always knew I wanted to be an author. That was one thing. I want to write a book, my life story of what has happened to me, where it's like, it's been pretty crazy, but everybody has a story. We all have a story. So, I always knew I wanted to write, and it was just like, well, my friend, he's an author himself, and he's like, just write. He's like, stop saying you're going to do it. Stop saying you have the perfect time right now. Like, why are you saying it? And why don't you just do it? So one day he told me, he's like, we got off the phone. He's like, write for 2 hours. I wrote that book in an hour. Because I had it all within me. I knew what I wanted to write. It was just easier to say it than to do it. And that's why a lot of people, they say, oh, I wish I was a fighter. Nah, actually, you like the idea of being a fighter, but to do it is another thing. So that's what separates, the fighter from other people. So, yeah, it was. When I wrote it, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I do this a long time ago? But it was beautiful. It's a beautiful book about my nieces and my nephews. I now have 11. I wrote it when I only had 10. The 11th was born 3 weeks ago. So she unfortunately didn't make it to my book. And they told me, they're like, you're not going to put her in? I was like, I don't know her. I don't know if I'm going to like her. So we got to get a connection. So I wrote it for my nieces and nephews, and I put them in there. And it was just an experience of, you know, what I felt when I met them and how they changed my life and how they filled my life up in such a warm way. So
Yeah, I mean, I can't, I'm sure a lot of people, especially aunts and nieces and nephews, are gonna really relate to that. I can't wait for its official release. I also saw that you had your own YouTube channel and that you've done interviews. You got this series where you spoke with Layla Ali, talking with Chris Cyborg and Gabe Rosado. How fun, how different has it been sort of exploring that other side of boxing where, right now you're the one being interviewed, but on the flip side, you were the one talking to some of these other fighters and athletes.
Yeah, I have that. It's a face-to-face series with my co-producer. We had this idea for a while since he had done a documentary on me, and we hit it off really well. And I told him, I wanted to be a show host, and because I love storytelling. I love how that brings people together and we realize we're so much alike than not, so and we're all going through something. We all have a story. We all have our why we're a certain way we are today because of our story of what has happened to us. But I always knew I wanted to do that, and it was something, the same thing. I always said, I want to do this one day. And finally we're like, screw it. So I reached out to Tito Ortiz, and he was my first one that he said yes. And he's awesome. Tito is awesome. And from there we got Layla, and Layla was very supportive. She's like, girl, I thought you were just gonna come with your iPhone and just set it up. And she was like, I said yes just because I'm supportive of you and I like the way you carry yourself, and your character is, you've proven who you are. You've stayed consistent with that, and I like how you present yourself and carry yourself. And but she saw it was like a whole ESPN, like all these lights, cameras, and I was like, oh yeah, we're not playing around. We're not playing around at all. So it's been great. I love that, and I want to continue to do that. And that's something with boxing. Boxing is, a moment in my life. It's a chapter in my life. It's not my whole life. And you have to be smart within this sport because you can only do it for a moment, a short period of your life. So you got to branch out on different avenues and get the most from this opportunity that we all have, this platform that boxing has given us. You have to prepare yourself for the next chapter, and you can't do it later on, when everybody forgot about you. You have to do it in the moment. And it's kind of something where you have to realize, like, I can't cheat on boxing either. I can't go half-ass on boxing, because boxing, if you cheat on boxing will slap you in the face and you'll get knocked down during the ring, so you have to be really strategic with it and stay real to why you're there, why you have this platform, because of boxing. So I never forget that boxing is my number one priority. So the moment we had an interview, the next face-to-face was supposed to be with Benavides, David Benavides, and his father. We were going to start, doing the series with the fathers training the sons. And we had to cancel that because I got news of boxing, and it's just like, nope, that's all out the window. It's just everything's boxing for my fight. So I enjoyed that. I want to continue to do that. I see myself doing that after. I see myself even being a promoter after, and taking, women and creating them to be superstars. The promotional is, lacks so much. The promotional companies lacks so much on what they could do, like with Shields. She's the most decorated freaking athlete right now. She's done something that the men haven't even done. And I just see certain things and I'm like, so I need to stop complaining. That's what it's called, because all women we do is just complain that we're not getting the support, and take it within my own hands and create this destiny that, we all deserve, women in the sport. So and that's what I've done with this, with this fight in particular. We did a all access 24/7 with myself and Alma. I sent my crew out there to film her, and I told her, look at the bigger picture of this. What we're going to do is show and we're going to say our story, basically. So put on your best, freaking show everything that you feel comfortable, but realize this is how fans gravitate towards you, is with your story, and show them whatever you want. You know, I'm not sending my crew out there to watch you, whatever it is. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. This has a bigger picture behind it, is with all these women behind us, you know, or that come after us, like showing them like, if we unite, we're so much more stronger, and to create our own lane in this sport that people have just, you know, complained and said, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. Screw them, and let's see what we can do ourselves.
And women's boxing, especially this month, is gonna get the spotlight so many times. We had the Clarissa Shields pay-per-view. Jessica McCaskill still see Leah Breakers fighting this weekend. Amanda Serrano fighting at the end of the month. Your fight next week. And
I realized that so many. I was like, this is a dope ass month to be fighting.
And it feels like that we are kind of getting in that early support, that's the support that it's now starting to kind of blossom. We got the all women's pay-per-view. We got several women in high profile fights and in main event bouts. And I kind of like, after the Clarissa Shields pay-per-view, I thought to myself, I hope that the support doesn't just go away overnight, as it sometimes kind of feels that way. And I think that hopefully that boxing supports the women, not just at the top of the level, but also maybe on a grassroots level, and just sort of building them up from the start. And you can and feel free to correct me and say whether I'm wrong or not. But in your opinion, what do you feel like women's boxing, let me rephrase the question. What do you think boxing needs to do to sort of maintain and grow that momentum that this month has been providing for women?
Well, with what you just said, with, you know, Clarissa having that great night of women's boxing, but a lot of people didn't even know about it. What was missing from that? The promotional.
Yeah.
The storytelling behind, you know, having her team do an all access as well. Yes, it's you know, the pandemic, but there's ways to film. There's ways to film safely. There's ways that was missing. And that is such a shame for such a great night of what she was able to do with what she could herself. But shame on her team for not making it a bigger fucking deal. It was a big deal for women's boxing. She's worthy of that publicity. She's worthy of cameras following her and showcasing, you know, what this magnitude of a night should have been. And it wasn't. And that was just so disappointing to see. And that's why with this, it's just like, this is what's missing, dude. Like, come on, you guys, like, this is what's missing, is the storytelling, is getting this, doing what you guys do with the guys, the Canelo and everything like that, you know, like, so I want to showcase that, and hopefully Alma gains a shitload of fans with this. They fall in love with her. I'm so happy for that. Like, I know what I'm capable of doing in this world, and I never am like, oh, well, don't show her, show me, you know, only me. No, God bless her as well. Like, I want her to do well and be able to gain something from this experience. But until then, it's going to be a fight night. Oh, wow, she's fighting. Okay. Oh, wow, it's a women's all card. Okay, great. And then it's going to go back down because they're not consistent with the storytelling. Storytelling is very important in our lives. Like I said, that's what connects us. But until then, it's just going to be like a one night thing, and then it's going to continue on.
Now, back to sort of your career and back to your boxing, you've been close to winning a world title. In your last fight, I believe you kind of came in like on a couple of days' notice in the rematch against Franchon Cruz de Zern. And now you're back on the road and back on that journey to get another title shot. As a fighter, when you're getting into that second or third run around to try and challenge for a world title and win that big one, does it get harder or does it get easier as a fighter, kind of knowing that you've been close to the top and now you sort of have to go back from square one almost and sort of work your way back up?
At As a fighter, this is the first fight where I feel completely different about going into the ring.
Mhm.
As crazy as that sounds, there was a missing link within me, which Buddy has filled and empowered me with. Um, and this new fire that has been ignited that I'm like, who the fuck are you? So I feel like my career is just starting, and this is what I have been missing. And I'm excited to showcase that. And I don't feel I've been learning on the job. I had 4 amateur fights, within 8 months of learning what a jab was, I turned pro. I have been learning on the freaking in the fights, so for me, it's like I've been going toe to toe with all these girls who have years and all this pedigree of freaking experience, of fights. And that says something. That always said something. That always spoke to me. I'm like, I know I have it. I haven't had that person, or I didn't know, that was missing the right coach or whatever it is to pull that out of me and to really know how to drive me. And I found it. And now it's just like, dude, I can beat you just because I know my corner. I know one thing he's gonna tell me, and I'm disciplined on just shooting. When he says shoot, trust me, we shoot. So for me, I don't feel like it's any harder. I just know it's the beginning of, it's a rebirth for me. That's how I feel. And I haven't been in, fights where I've taken punishment. So I didn't have, a long amateur career. As long as my body is able to continue on, I feel like I have just started my career after this fight.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, you got this fight against Alma. It's on Ring City, USA, which has really gained a lot of momentum since its inception. What message do you kind of want to send with a performance and a win against Alma Ibarra?
What message?
Yeah.
What message? I mean, it's just tune in to get that message that fight night, because I think it's going to be a really it's going to be a great showcase of boxing, of the art of boxing. And they asked me, I think last interview, they said, what is it, how does it feel to be on on their card, on their platform? I'm like, yo, what do you mean, how does it feel for us to be on their card? How also does it feel for them to have 2 warriors be on their card as well? I don't take it like, oh, I'm so grateful. No, dude, I'm with you. I'm standing side by side. We run the same miles. We sweat the same. We bleed the same. So why should I be looking up to you? Because you're a guy. Mm-hmm. It's just, we're worth it. We're worth it. And tune in fight night, because you'll see that the women play no games. So that's it.
I totally agree with you. I hope that you guys get the support and the much needed promotion that women's boxing has been solely lacking for a long time. And thank you so much, Maricela. I really do appreciate it. Best of luck on March 18 in Puerto Rico. Enjoy the island, enjoy the trip, and have fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the ring.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.